In 1953, the United States staged a coup to save an ally. In 1979, that ally's people stormed an American embassy. And 40 years later, the same two nations stand minutes away from a missile exchange. This is the story of how a friendship built on oil and espionage turned into a blood feud that defines the modern Middle East.
To understand why Iran and the United States hate each other today, you have to forget terrorism, nuclear centrifuges, and Twitter threats. You have to look at one man, Mohammad Mossadegh, and one operation, TP Ajax. This video covers the three critical phases of the rupture: the coup of 1953, the Islamic Revolution of 1979, and the hostage crisis that sealed the hatred. We are not just listing dates. We are tracing a national trauma that rewired Iran's political DNA and turned America into the Great Satan. In the early 1950s, Iran wasn't a theocracy. It wasn't a dictatorship. It was a constitutional monarchy with a democratically elected prime minister named Mohammad Mossadegh. He was elderly, frail, and deeply popular. His crime: he wanted to nationalize the British-owned Anglo-Iranian oil company. For decades, Britain had extracted Iran's oil for a fraction of its value, and the company paid more in taxes to London than it ever paid to Tehran. Mossadegh's decision was wildly popular among Iranians, but to British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, it was economic warfare. Britain begged the United States for help, but this time, Washington said no. President Harry Truman refused because he didn't see Mossadegh as a communist. He saw him as a nationalist. But then everything changed when Dwight Eisenhower came to power and the Cold War started getting colder. And to the CIA, instability meant one thing: Soviet influence, so they made a decision: they would act. Here's the fatal irony: the CIA didn't install a puppet, they installed a monster. They brought in Kermit Roosevelt Jr. to run Operation Ajax, and the plan was simple: bribe politicians, plant fake news, pay thugs to pose as communists and start riots in the streets, then pressure the Shah to sign the decree removing Mossadegh from power. On August 19, 1953, it worked. Mossadegh surrendered and the Shah returned. But this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning of something much darker. For the next 26 years, the Shah ruled with an iron fist. His secret police, SAVAK, was trained by the CIA. They tortured, imprisoned, and killed thousands. The United States got cheap oil and a loyal ally against the Soviet Union. Iran got a tyrant, and the Iranian people never forgot who put him there. Fast forward to the 1970s. The Shah, backed by President Richard Nixon, declared the White Revolution, a modernization plan. He built highways, universities, and military bases. He turned Iran into the policeman of the Persian Gulf. The U.S. sold him the most advanced F-14 Tomcat fighter jets, missiles, and surveillance systems. But to the conservative clerics, the bazaar merchants, and the urban poor, this wasn't revolution. It was Western corruption. The Shah's SAVAK arrested anyone who criticized him. Dissidents were thrown into the infamous Evin prison. The man leading the opposition was a wrinkled, black-turbaned exile living in a small apartment outside Paris, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Khomeini spoke not of democracy, but of Garbzadagi, Westoxification. He argued that America didn't just want Iran's oil, it wanted Iran's soul. His sermons were smuggled into Iran on cassette tapes. People risked prison just to listen. By 1978, the Shah was dying of cancer. The streets of Tehran exploded. Protesters chanted, "Death to the Shah." On January 16, 1979, the Shah put on his metal-covered uniform, kissed the ground, and flew into exile. 2 weeks later, Khomeini landed back in Tehran to a crowd of millions. This is where hate became permanent. President Jimmy Carter, shocked by the Shah's collapse, made a fateful decision. He allowed the dying Shah to come to America for cancer treatment. For the revolutionaries, this was proof of a new plot. They feared the U.S. was planning a second coup, like 1953 all over again. On November 4, 1979, a group of militant students stormed the embassy. They took 52 American diplomats and citizens hostage. For 444 days, America watched. The hostages were paraded blindfolded on television. A failed rescue mission, Operation Eagle Claw, left 8 U.S. servicemen dead in the Iranian desert. The humiliation destroyed Carter's presidency. Khomeini realized that humiliating the great Satan was a political superweapon. Every time he screamed death to America, the poor masses rallied behind him. He refused to release the hostages until the very minute Ronald Reagan took the oath of office on January 20, 1981. Why didn't Khomeini let them go sooner? Because the hostage crisis wasn't about the hostages. It was about consolidating the revolution. Khomeini used the United States as an external enemy to crush his internal rivals. The U.S. responded by freezing $12 billion in Iranian assets, beginning a decades-long economic war. The 1953 coup taught Iranians that America lies for oil. The hostage crisis taught Americans that Iran holds people hostage. These are the two original sins. Every subsequent event, the Iran-Iraq War, the 1988 downing of Iran Air Flight 655, the nuclear program, the killing of Soleimani, is just an echo of this first rupture. Today, when a U.S. president threatens military action, Iran sees a CIA plot. When Iran enriches uranium, the U.S. sees a hostage crisis with a nuclear bomb. They are not enemies because of religion or geography. They are enemies because of memory. The United States wanted a reliable client state. It got a revolutionary enemy. Iran wanted dignity and control over its oil. It got sanctions and isolation. Until the 20th century is forgiven, the 21st century will remain on the brink. And the question, the one that haunts every State Department briefing and every Revolutionary Guard command post, is this: who will be brave enough to say sorry first?